Welcome to Jen Sense, where I, Jen, try to make sense of the shenanigans around me. Sometimes I'm joined by a guest, but most times it's just me trying to make sense of this very wild world. Yeah, so let's have a good time, guys. It's gonna be worth it. Thank you. Today's shenanigans, a dash of Dungeons and Dragons, and today we're joined by a guest who actually talks this time, Ryan.
Hello.
I'm gonna murder him. Anyways, today I'm gonna talk to you about one of my favorite subjects, and Ryan's just along for the ride. So Dungeons and Dragons, it's that weird 70s game that everybody thought was a part of a cult, but like they were just like super duper nerds made by this guy named Gary Gygax or something. Who knows?
It's a cult.
It is not. Just because there's demons doesn't mean that it's a cult. Don't look at me like that. Anyways, I say all that to say that it is a very fun game. It can be very complicated, but it's like once you get it, it's just honestly, it's just you telling a story with your friends, but then you make the dice rolls, because if you don't, then you're just really just telling a story and everything will happen. Basically, you write a book with your friends, but, you know, to make the randomness, so it's actually a game, you have 7 dice, and I'm not even going to attempt the word, no, I'm lying, I'm always going to try to attempt poly something, many-sided dice, there's 7 of them. Anyways, yeah, I think that Dungeons and Dragons is good for your mental health. If you need to work through something and you can't afford therapy, guess what? Your friends or random strangers that you meet at the game store are going to help you work through some pent-up frustration.
Ooh.
Probably. Not like that. Come on, man. This is a clean thing.
First of all, you're talking about the peak performance of Fantasy Monopoly that is Dungeons and Dragons. I don't want to go there with you. Like, you're telling a story. Yes, Monopoly does as well. It's called capitalism. You're telling a story about these demons, and they're coming up from the ground.
I mean, there's other things. There's
the bar. There
are taverns, yes. There are also dragons, because you know, and
short. What do you call dwarves?
Dwarves. There are dwarves, yes, and elves. And hey, look, it's Gracie. Hi, Gracie. Are you gonna come and talk about Dungeons and Dragons and your love of it? No?
She's like being interested in any of y'all people.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. I feel like I'm just gonna end up teaching people. That is not your phone. I feel like I'm just gonna end up teaching people about the basics of Dungeons and Dragons, so you can try to find somebody to play with. Because if I start telling you guys stories, then you're gonna be like, well, what is she even talking about? When I start explaining.
Tell them about the lore and save your drits.
I mean, I don't even know that like that. But I know I'm terrible. I can teach you how to play the game, but like all the lore stuff, like that's somebody else. Like I'm not about that. So if I do tell you guys stories about don't look at me like that. The stories, I will call those Jen's Dicey Lore, and that will be me trying to explain the lore / my experiences with Dungeons and Dragons, and then I guess a dash of Dungeons and Dragons will be me trying to teach you and convince you to play said game.
It's only not a cult.
It is not a cult. It's not a cult. It's a game
I mean, it's a gathering of geeky people who wear cloaks and have this magical board.
Okay, I want you to know that the wolf from True Blood, which isn't helping my case, Joe Magnamalo
It's Monster Hunter? Monster Hunter? Okay, guys. Monster Hunter, my greatest playthrough in all of D.
Fuck you. Well,
I rolled a 7 and I got a Magnum Malo orb.
They don't even know what a Magnum Malo is.
Man, please, somebody gonna know.
Besides you. Anyways, Joe, whatever his name, the werewolf from True Blood, who's married to Sofia Vergara, who's like, he plays, so it's like, and Terry Crews plays.
Nerd.
I mean, yeah. And there's this thing called Critical Role, which is a bunch of voice actors who play. I'm getting off track. Okay, first off.
But that's just.
No, that is basically the point of Dungeons and Dragons is to go, wow, how dare my laptop do something in the middle of this recording that is so great and so clear and so not terrible. So yeah, as I was saying, a dash of Dungeons and Dragons will probably be me or Ryan or both of us, and maybe Grace, just talking about Dungeons and Dragons and the experience. Jen Sexy Lore is going to be me trying to explain the lore and my stories with Dungeons and Dragons, and then I will tell you something that is funny about Dungeons and Dragons. Wow, I said that like a bajillion times just now.
Totally not going to get sponsored.
I wish. Wouldn't that be great? Come on, Wizards of the Coast, the owners of Dungeons and Dragons. The three hardest things about Dungeons and Dragons, exactly, Grace, is learning the lingo, because people are gonna just throw out tiefling, D6s, D20s. I don't even know what else. Just things, and you're gonna be like D4s, and you're gonna be like, what are you saying to me?
Or
what is a mini?
Don't you ever play D&D and listen to these weirdos in there. Oh my god, don't worry guys, you can be a wizard. But being an actual wizard in D&D, do you have a calculator? Do you have a notebook? Do you know how to work Microsoft Excel?
No, it's not even all that shush. And then the second hardest thing about Dungeons and Dragons is having a consistent group in meeting, place, and time. That is hard, because you'll be like, as an adult, it's harder. Rachel, if you don't stop playing random background music, you're gonna get me in trouble.
Copyright, everything.
No. The third thing about Dungeons and Dragons is doors. For some reason, you can never get them open or closed when you need them to. The fourth hardest thing about Dungeons and Dragons is math. I'm very clearly good at counting and math because I said 3 and gave you 4. But honestly, like, once you learn the lingo, the hardest and most consistent thing is finding the group of people, the meeting time and place, because oh my gosh, you will be like, yeah, every Friday I'm good, and then your life will be like, no you're not, we're changing it up. Also, be kind to yourself and others when you're learning how to play. It does feel silly, but it's worth it. Isn't that right? Ryan, didn't you die in the first encounter?
Hey.
I'm a very nice dungeon master, DM. Yeah.
Look,
and
man.
He yelled out to the orcs that, well, no, I'm sorry. What did you do? You
I tried to light the rodents on fire, but apparently rodents don't burn fast enough. They just jumped on me, and then me and the rodents died in a horrible, fiery, stank, musky death. You know what? I ain't got to worry about that, because I ain't worried about that picture. That ain't even canon.
Okay, so that's not canon for him. Be kind to yourself. You're going to feel silly, and be kind to others because they feel silly. And also, it's very freeing if you find the right group of people and game. So, yeah, give it a try. Go to your game shops. Go online. Do the things to, I don't know. Just play the game. It's fun. That's all I got. I will give you more. A dash.
Figurines. Stories.
Books.
D&D.
Oh.
I mean, the books are like Bibles at this point, but...
I mean, let's not even get into all that. Anyways, this episode is long enough, so we'll just stop it right here. Thank you for joining me on Gen Sense. I hope you had a wonderful time while I, Jen, went over those shenanigans. I hope you have a wonderful time, and remember to always be kind.